Today, we're talking about the Proverbs 31 woman. And I know there are lots of videos on this, but I wanted to give my take on it too. So, I'm actually going to go through it verse by verse so we can dissect each little nugget of her character. Kitty, why is it that every time I film, this is what happens? All right, goodbye. So, pull up my notes here. Here we go. Proverbs 31, 1 through 9 are actually advice about kingship and just being more like a godly man. But verses 10 through 31 are all about the wife of noble characters. This is the ideal wife. Ideal wifey material. Okay, I'm going to, should I read the whole thing first and then we can break it down? Yeah, let's do that. A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. She's like a merchant ship, bringing her food from afar. She gets up while it is still night and provides food for her family and portions for her female servants. She considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings she plants a vineyard. She sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. She sees that her trading is profitable, and her lamp does not go out at night. In her hand she holds the distaff and grasps the spindles with her fingers. She opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. When it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. She makes coverings for her bed. She is clothed in fine linen and purple. Her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she can laugh at the days to come. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction is on her tongue. She watches over the affairs of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive, and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, let's dive into each one of these verses and see what we can find in there. So it starts with a wife of noble character who can find. She is worth far more than rubies. So that immediately tells us that she is rare and she is profitable to her husband. Her worth is not something that can be replaced. She is irreplaceable to him and to her family. So that means she's put in the work to become what she is. That doesn't come from just happening. She worked for that. She worked to build her character. She cultivated it, is what I'm trying to say. All right, and then verse 11. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. So he trusts that she has his best interests at heart, the best interests for the family. She's reliable. She won't be foolish or embarrass him in any way. She is an elegant woman that knows when to speak and when to be silent, and she's sensible. Verse 12, she brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. This is like building on the previous verse where she has his best interests at heart. But she works for her family all her life, so it doesn't sound like she's working for someone else. First and foremost, she is her husband's helpmate. Whatever his projects are, she fully supports. She fills in where she needs to. She provides a loving, nurturing home for her family. Verse 13, she selects wool and flax and works with eager hands. Flax is used to make linen, and I do believe how they do it is they beat out the flax and get the threads of the flax and probably weave that together to make the linen threads. So she's selecting the high quality materials for her family to support their livelihood, to clothe them, to feed them, to take care of them, to be the manager of the household. She is preparing all the supplies. She's going out. So she's getting the groceries, she's buying the clothes, and she works with eager hands. So she's happy to create, provide, to nurture her family, and take care of them. That is what she finds her joy in. She's like the merchant ships, bringing her food from afar. So that, in modern day, is buying the groceries, finding the best deals to purchase any item for the household, going the extra mile for her family, all of that. All of this really compounds on each other. Some of it's just extra examples, but to me it sounds like she is an excellent manager of her home in all the ways. Verse 15, she gets up while it is still night as she provides food for her family. So she's not lazy by any means. She does not sleeping in. She's probably the first one to rise in the entire family and getting things ready. So maybe she's getting her husband's lunch ready for work that day, cooking for the kids, getting everything ready for the day, preparing herself, preparing the house, and portions to her female servants. So anyone who's under her care, she is taking care of. She is a leader in her household, and she treats others fairly and compassionately. And my bread is beeping, so I gotta go get that out of the oven really fast. If you're a business owner in any way, I think this definitely applies to your employees. Taking care of them, making sure you take care of them as people, not just the paycheck. Verse 16, she considers a field and buys it. Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. So this tells me that she is very financially savvy. She's a businesswoman. She knows a good deal, and she reinvests her earnings into something that is also profitable. I mean, you would get the grapes, you could sell the grapes, you'd bake the wine, and then you would hire people out for all these jobs. So you are also supporting other livelihoods. So she's being a good steward of money. She's being a good businesswoman in this. Verse 17, she sets about her work vigorously. Her arms are strong for her tasks. So this means she's equipped for the work she has, and she plans accordingly. Whatever she knows she's going to be doing in the coming day, the coming week, the coming month, the coming years, whatever, she prepares now. So she is ready. She looks to the future a lot, and she makes her plans. She's not surprised or short on funds or anything like that. So she sounds like she keeps a calendar really well. Verse 18. She sees that her trading is profitable and her lamp does not go out at night. So that means she has the resources to burn oil all night. So I take that in modern day as she is very financially savvy, like we mentioned earlier, but she has enough money saved up for a comfortable life. To burn a lamp all night long was very expensive because of the oil. So it sounds like she knows how to manage her money extremely well, and they can live a comfortable life where they can burn the excess in a way. Verse 19, in her hand she holds the distaff and grasps the spindle with her fingers. So the distaff and the spindle have to do with weaving and creating thread and clothing and all of that. So this is just building on the fact that she clothes her family, she takes care of them, she meets their needs, she's willing to do the work to take care of her family. Verse 20, she opens her arms to the poor and extends her hands to the needy. So she's a very charitable person. Maybe she volunteers or she serves others in any way she can. She's always willing to pitch in, to help, to work with others, and definitely to take care of them when she can, to bless them within her means of doing so. Verse 21, when it snows, she has no fear for her household, for all of them are clothed in scarlet. So this says to me that she prepares for the hard times. She knows that there will be a rainy day one day. So she, like we mentioned earlier, she's financially savvy, so she has prepared. She has money stored up. She has supplies stored up. Like in real life now, if you know there's a snowstorm coming, what do you go buy? Eggs, milk, bread, all of that. So she doesn't let things take her by surprise. She is prepared for them. And her family is well taken care of because of her diligence. Clothed in scarlet is very much a symbol of royalty and wealth. So she has prepared for the hard times, that even when times are hard, they're still taken care of because she put in the work early. She had the foresight to know this was coming, so she was prepared. I feel like I've said that 16 different ways. Verse 22, she makes coverings for her bed and is clothed in fine linen and purple. I read that as she is very discreet about her intimacy with her husband. She's not blabbing to her friends about, what they did last night or anything. She's very private about that. It's just for them. So she's not gossiping about it. She's not telling any juicy details. And then when it goes on to say she's clothed in fine linen and purple, linen itself is a symbol of purity, and purple is a symbol of royalty. So I read this as she's pure, has discretion, is modest, faithful to her husband in every way. The purple you can read as she's queen of her household. Verse 23, her husband is respected at the city gate, where he takes his seat among the elders of the land. So you have to understand that back in the day, in the biblical times, the city gate was where they would meet for court. That's kind of where like business dealings would go on. So the city gate was a very important area. You could think of it as like the town square in a way. So when it's saying he's respected at the city gate, it means he's respected in all the land. All the who's who know who he is. They respect him. They see him as a man of honor, and his wife totally compliments that. So she's not doing anything to bring shame to her family, to her husband. This comes right after the bed linen. So I think it is also compounding on that. So she is, like we said, modest and pure, and she's not shaming her husband in any way. She's lifting him up, especially in the eyes of others. She is a very sensible and respectable woman, which brings honor and glory to her husband. Verse 24, she makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies the merchants with sashes. So I read this as she is very industrious. Her work benefits everyone. So the deal she makes, she doesn't make a one-way deal that only benefits her. She's very careful and sure that it's a win-win for everyone when she makes any sort of deal or promise. She's very much for benefiting everyone involved. Verse 25, she's clothed in strength and dignity and can laugh at the days to come. So she's very wise. Like we talked about, she has foresight to see future potential problems. And in her wisdom, she is safe and secure. She's respected. Her trust is in the Lord. So she's not worried about the future. She knows that he's going to take care of her, and she knows that he has equipped her with the tools to prepare for anything that could come. And when you're just so prepared and you know you're taken care of, when something bad comes, it is laughable because you know that God's got you. You know that he's given you the tools to figure it out, to take care of you the whole time. So she can laugh at the days to come. And you can also read that as, total prosperity, not just potential problems. If she's clothed in strength and dignity, and she has the beautiful household management, and her children love her, her husband loves her, she can laugh at the days to come because her days are filled with joy. Her grandchildren are growing up and they adore her, they praise her, all of that too, because she is the epitome of the godly wife. I love that. That one really just came to me as I was reading it. 26. She speaks with wisdom, and faithful instruction are on her tongue. Ladies, this one's hard, but this one means you're not gossiping. You're not spreading anything that could be potentially mean, misconstrued. You only have grace and love on your tongue. Don't participate in any office gossip or church community group gossip. No idle talk. It says faithful instruction is on her tongue. So she's not being critical. She's not criticizing her husband or nagging him. When she does need to express her needs or instruction of any kind, it is lovingly, and it's gentle, and it's peaceful. And I think this is something that modern women struggle with. Verse 27, she watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. So she's not scrolling all day long. She manages her house well. She does all the scheduling, the bill paying, the supplies, groceries. She's not just wasting her day away, basically scrolling. Verse 28, her children arise and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. So this is the appreciation that is being shown for all of the work, all the diligence, all the love that she is pouring into her family and her community. This is the preface for what he's about to say, which is, verse 29, many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Isn't that beautiful? So not every wife is this woman. This one goes above and beyond. She is truly the ideal wife. So I do believe we all can potentially get here one day, but it does take work. It does take thought and intention. It goes on, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. This isn't to say to neglect your looks, to deceive anyone with your looks. This is saying that the most lasting beauty is having your heart right with the Lord, to serve him and your family as your first and foremost thing in your life. But I do believe that a good wife does take care of her appearance and keeps herself attractive for her husband and also for her own self-esteem. Verse 31, this is the last verse. Honor her for all that her hands have done, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. So this is saying to appreciate her. Husbands, appreciate your wife, but appreciate her and give her the praise she deserves publicly and privately, to cherish her, let her be praised in the community, let everyone see what she does for her family and appreciate that. So I really think there is a lot here, and I think it is good to totally break it down to know what we can work on in our own marriages and relationships, and just striving toward being the best manager of our households, the best version of ourselves, best wife, best daughter, best boss, best mother. I do think that this is a great place to look for what an ideal godly woman is. I know that this is like a very classic scripture about godly womanhood and godly wifehood and even motherhood, but I do think sometimes it's not delved into and like you don't get the nuggets out of there. So I hope you did get something out of this video. If you did, maybe share it with a friend and like the video, because that does help the channel, that helps the video get out there to more people. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you do work toward becoming a Proverbs 31 woman. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. God bless you.